I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review, or I should say re-review, because Felix, guy who is on, thank you so much for that. For anyone interested in requesting pretty much any type of video, review, re-review, reaction, movie topic, what have you, you can request it by sending it directly to my PayPal or join me on my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. If not, no worries. If so, thank you so much. But Ip Man 2. I enjoyed this film. I thought it was fast-paced. It takes place in 1949. He's moved to Hong Kong. He tries to open up a school and practice and promote his Wing Chun martial art. But he gets those students. He barely even pay rent. But then one day these guys try to fight him. He easily defeats them. And he's like, hey, we want to be your students now. And he's like, okay. So he starts training more and more people. One day, one of his students gets in trouble with his gang. This fight happens where Donnie Yen's character is using pallets and blocking with blades and all sorts of stuff. One thing leads to another, and Sammo Hung arrives. And he's sort of the master of this gang of people. And he tells Donnie, hey, wait a minute. You can't teach here. You have to do these tests. And if you pass them, then you can teach here. And so you get this test where Donnie Yen has to fight these multiple masters on top of this table and not fall off. So he fights three of them, including Sammo Hung. And this is a fun fight. I mean, yeah, bit wire work. A bit, yeah, wire work. But I enjoyed the swirling camera work. I thought it was fairly decent in its editing. I thought it was an entertaining fight. And it was cool to see Sammo Hung work with Donnie Yen. Both very talented martial artists. So I thought the whole sequence was very fun. I mean, to the point that when Sammo and Donnie are fighting, the movie's obviously telling that they're equals, because the table breaks in half. And sometimes with these films, it seems like it wants to have just two different movies in one film. Some do it better than others. In this case, you have that movie 1, then you have movie 2, which is kind of like Rocky 3 or Rocky 4. Which leads to, there's this Western boxing event, and this British boxer is arrogant and racist. It's played by a guy named Darren Shalavi. He sadly passed away sometime after this. Which, I mean, I'm indifferent on the guy, but that's still, you know, sad to hear. He seemed pretty young, so that is too bad. Now, granted, he's racist, but it's a bit cartoonish. I'll mention this. I reviewed Ip Man 3 before I saw Ip Man 4. But by this point, I've seen Ip Man 3 and 4. So I know I'm doing this kind of... Because I do remember Ip Man 2. I remember enjoying the film, so I knew I would like it. So I'm like, you know what? Let me go watch Ip Man 3 first. Because I barely remember the film. Then I saw Ip Man 4. And Ip Man 4 kind of retreads this ground. Instead of a racist boxer, it's a racist Marine... gunnery sergeant, drill sergeant, played by Scott Adkins. And I was saying about that film, one of the things I didn't like, the whole racism stuff. Granted, that was part of that time period, but it talks about being cartoonish. And yeah, you could say this is cartoonish too, but maybe because it just, with this film, that's part of it, but it's not fucking doing this to your head every 3 minutes about the racism. I mean, that's what the fourth film really, that's what it's about. It's about racism. So I get it. I just wasn't entertained by it. Here, they didn't have 50 British people just go racist shit. Unless I wasn't paying attention. And you know, he's saying stuff like, Chinese boxing, you should stick to dancing. I mentioned Rocky 3 and 4 because, like, Sammo fights. It is really Rocky 4. Kind of like Apollo Creed. Sammo fights. He's doing well, but he's got asthma, so he gets his ass kicked, then he gets killed in the ring like Apollo Creed. And then Rocky, aka Donnie Yen, wants revenge. No training montage. The English actors, I will say, they give really over-the-top delivery of their lines. So, yeah, I have to imagine someone who's British, their reaction to this film might be the same reaction I have to Ip Man 4. And if that's the case, I can understand. And that's one issue I can say with the film is that what kind of film are these Ip Mans want to be? If they want to be, we want to have this serious drama and be the story of this real life guy who trained Bruce Lee, which I'm like, well, why don't you have a film with him actually training Bruce Lee if you want to market that all the fucking time with these films? But then they make them so cartoonishly racist that at least Rocky 4 was more fun. I mean, it has a goddamn robot that says, thank you, Polly, you know, happy birthday, Polly. They're going to take that with the director's cut. But, you know, at least at the end, yes, you can say it's not realistic. But it's Rocky ending the Cold War going, if you can change, and I can change, anybody can change. Which I know people are like, oh, that's bullshit. But isn't that the point, is that we want hope? But anyway, I didn't. It's like, well, okay, what are these films trying to do? Are they trying to be just entertainment? Or are they trying to be stories about what really happened? It wants to have its cake and eat it too. Which I didn't have fault because other films have done that. I don't know, I understand, hey, you have him as the villain, but then just have him do it. Don't have the other people going, oh, Chinese, oh. Just have him be the asshole. And yeah, of course, like Rocky 4, you had a couple Russians, and they seem like the bad guys. But at least the crowd at the end started like, Moscow is cheering for Rocky. At least, you know, you had that, which I appreciate. And I think, you know, Stallone did that, as cheesy as it may be. I think he did that for a reason. It was a smart reason. And, you know, people can make fun of that speech at the end, but I like the speech at the end of Rocky 4. But anyway, get back to this. I do think something more could have been done with that. But I do enjoy the film as a fast-paced action film. I do think the fight scenes are well done. I like the fight at the end. I think it's a really good fight with his rapid punches, attacking the biceps, hitting in the ear, smack down with his fists. I will say he almost does the Rocky 4 speech in this. I have to think Rocky 4 had to be some kind of inspiration, even though this is supposed to be about the real life Yip man, but it's like, well, wow, this is bullshit. It didn't happen, so you're like, again, what's real, what's not? The thing with the first two Ip Man films, they're trying to tackle, the issues of the man and his life, his story, what he went through, as well as incorporate, a fun escapism action movie. And I understand that, but I think when you get to the later ones, that was one of the detriments in a way for me in the later ones, especially the fourth one. I also think when I talked about this more in the third and fourth one, they kind of mismarketed the films where they really try to hone in on the Bruce Lee factor. But like Bruce Lee, he's in this a little bit at the end as a little kid that does this, and then Donnie Yen goes, "Come back when you grow up." And in the third film, he's in it a little bit, and then the fourth film, he's in it the most out of the four, but then he disappears for this shitty story. You hear that in my review of the fourth. It was nice to see Sammo Hung. I thought he did a good job acting. Donnie Yen, he does a good job. He's still, this is 2010, so he's still in his prime, being fast and crisp with his moves. Like I said, the fight scene where he's helping the student against all these gangs, and he's using pallets to block blades, and all the various ways he's taking people down. That's nicely done. I'd like to say I like, even though it's a bit too wire work heavy, there's some nice camera work. The moment where Donnie Yen and Sammo Hung are going around this table in a circle, and just how fucking fast their hands are, is astounding to me. To go that fast, but you have to be that coordinated, impressive. And then being a big fan of Rocky 4, I'm like, oh cool, this is kind of like Rocky 4, this whole second half of the film. And again, I don't know if that was ever Donnie Yen's intention, but I had fun with that. So, again, I don't think Darren Shalhoub was here. You could have him be the racist asshole guy, sure, but the other guys, either they were racist. There's more you could have done with that, as well as not having them be so over the top in their acting. Why is it that all who are Asian, their acting is natural, but this also happens in the fourth film. The British here, or white, they're so fucking cartoonish, and they're over the top delivery lines. What is going on here? I'm like, what the fuck? What? What the fuck? Down. You're grinding metal. Ease down, Ripley. Ease down. Ease down. So the English actors being really over the top, and the other stuff, that's how I think could have been fixed. Other than that, I thought it was enjoyable. That was fun. Some good fight scenes. Cinematography worked well. I thought they captured decently the time period of the 40s, the late 40s, with the wardrobe people wore and the sets utilized. I thought the set of the whole boxing arena, it didn't feel like a cheap, low-budget film. These are not films that went in American theaters or anything. I don't know. Well, I don't know how. It has to have been successful overseas. That's why they made third and a fourth film. But I'm just saying it didn't look like a cheap production. That's what I'm getting at. And I do think if you like the first one, you'll like the second one. To me, this is the last good one. I know all of 4 of these did like 7.79 to be. I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of 3 and 4. And you'll hear why. You can disagree, but I'll stick with these first 2. But with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.